What is going on, traders? Welcome back to the Traveling Trader. Happy Tuesday to you. Let us just jump right into it. Looking at the cryptocurrency market cap, we are currently sitting at 345.2 bill. A little bit of a drop off from the spike that we saw last night, but nothing too bad. You see that most cryptocurrencies are tracking in the green over the last week, but there have only been a few notable increases, really, a few notable coins that have gained majorly. Bitcoin obviously up almost 20% in the last week. You see Ethereum making a surprise comeback, up almost 9% in the last week. Monero coming out of nowhere, 20% in the last week. And then you have a few losers like Chainlink down 14% in the last week or so. And Chainlink is one that I'm eyeing for a re-entry. We made some great gains on a few swing trades on Chainlink, and I'm definitely looking to get back into it, especially after this drop off here. If you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description. I will be sending out alerts for potential re-entries on Link as well as other coins and stocks. Yes, we do stock trade alerts as well. All right, so a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today is the Litecoin halving, as well as obviously Bitcoin and where I think Bitcoin is going in the near term. So I'll start with Bitcoin because it is, dictates the entire market. So as good a place as any to start. Looking at the one-day chart, you'll see that we did form a bull flag. And by the way, on every single time frame, there are bullish patterns. So we'll step through them. But looking at the one day, you'll see this classic bull flag here, a positive break from the bull flag. We are inching our way towards that swing high, that close of around 13, what was the swing high close? Around 13,100. Obviously, we did wick at close to 14,000 right before coming back down and closing here. So we're on our way to retesting that. You look at the MACD, the rising volume, you look at the RSI, all these things are definitely supporting that move up. One interesting thing about the RSI, if you look here, you'll see that the RSI has support at around this level here, and that it bounces from the support and hits overbought multiple times. Actually, you can even extend it out going all the way back to February 2019, but it has this trend where we hit overbought, bounces off support, hit overbought, bounces off support. So you have this trend that's been going on for almost 5 or 6 months. And remember, trend is your friend until it isn't, or until the end, right? So we have to run with the plausibility of this trend right here. And I do believe that just based on the price action, the formation of this bullish pattern here, and the direction that Bitcoin is going, we're going to head towards retesting this level once again, right up here at around 13,100 to see if we can close above it. And, an upward move to retest this would support an increase in the RSI and the momentum. The MACD is actually the highest that it's been since the bull rally of the famous bull rally of the end of 2017. If you look at the MACD here, this is the highest that it's been. Obviously, we did hit a higher MACD at the apex of this rally. And, once we hit the apex of this rally, I think we will get to those MACD levels. But right now, this current MACD level is the highest that it's been since that time. All right, so looking at the 4 hour, we did say that there were bullish signals on most time frames. Let me just remove these drawing tools. If you look at the 4 hour, there is an obvious inverse head and shoulders here, and there is a break above the head and shoulders, a positive break, right? So you'll see here's the left shoulder, the head, and here we have the right shoulder. And we broke above the inverse head and shoulders positively. That means that the pattern itself is confirmed, right? As you see here. And we, again, are on our way up, retesting this level. The MACD and the RSI, as well as the on-balance volume, are supporting this move up. And you will also see here that the 21-day moving average, or the 21 moving average on the 4 hour, which is this white line, has now surpassed the 50 and the 100 MAs, which means that recent price action is bullish. Now, let's take a look at the 1 week. What is going on the 1 week? On the 1 week, we have this very pivotal level here. I can't talk. This very pivotal level here at 11.8, between 11.8 and 11.9, right? That's 11,800, 11,900. But you'll see that this is a very pivotal level for a couple of reasons. Well, one, this resistance or this key level here didn't start, in January 2018. It actually started in November 2017 when Bitcoin tried to break it and found some resistance, finally surpassed it, used it as support. But that level, eventually when the bull market turned into a bear and the market started crashing, right? It tried to find support back at this level, couldn't, broke down, and then tried to push through for 7 straight weeks before failing again. So this is a very stubborn resistance level. And the fact that we're currently above it, we've been above it, a number of times in the last 3 weeks. This is now the third weekly candle in a row that we've been above this level. We just haven't been able to close above it. So you see the wick, go back 2 weeks ago, the wick above, and then last week you see the wick above, and then this week, hopefully, we are able to close above it. There is bullish momentum denoted by the RSI. You see the MACD is still very positive, and the on-balance volume on the weekly, which is a cumulative measure of volume, is increasing as well. And you see the 21-week EMA, which is this white line, crossing the 50-week MA and the 100-week MA. So again, showing that the short-term price action is bullish. Now it's interesting. This bull rally here is definitely not like the last bull rally that we saw at the end of 2017. If you look at the end of 2017, we essentially went from 10,000 to 20,000 in about 4 days, right? So the point that we hit 10,000 on the close, which was December 1st, I think it was. Yeah, December 1st was the first time that we closed above 10,000. And by the time we got to 20,000 or close to it, it was December 16th. So 15 days, right? Until we got to 19,000 and change. And in this case, we hit 10,000. What was that? We hit 10,000 June 21st, and it is currently, July 9th. So yeah, we're definitely not following the path that we did last time. This is actually a more natural path in a market where you see patterns forming, you see retests of certain support levels, you see resistance trying to break through certain levels on the resistance side. This is what you would normally see in a market that is acting like a market, as opposed to something like this, which rarely in any market have we ever seen such an uptrend as we did in the end of 2017. So if we continue along, and I'm still bullish on Bitcoin, I've been saying it most of 2019, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin long term, but if we continue along and retest all-time highs, you want to see this type of price action as opposed to something that looks like an anomaly, right? This looks like an outlier. It looks like we weren't supposed to be here. But if we gradually climb and get to 19,000, 20,000 in the fashion that we are doing now, it looks a lot more plausible, and there is a higher chance of that price action sticking as opposed to a straight shot up and a straight shot down, which mirrors a pump and dump. I'm not saying Bitcoin's a pump and dump scheme, but the fashion in which the price jumps up and jumps down mirrors a pump and dump, which the market would view as anomalous. And, think back to what you thought as well, right? After the market crashed from 20,000, you started doubting whether Bitcoin had any real business being at that level, right? Most of us did. And it's, especially the mainstream did, but even most people in the crypto space did. All right, let us look at Litecoin real quick. So Litecoin, there is obviously the halving coming up in August. Now, here's the thing. By the way, I took this from, what's this guy's name? Powerophon 3. This was the chart that he or she created on Litecoin using cleverly using a 2-day chart. So a lot of people are predicting that, or are expecting Litecoin to drop before the halving. However, if you look at the downtrend that we've had, and obviously Litecoin was at the end of 2018, we had Litecoin at around $20. So if you look at the downtrend that we've had, it looks like Litecoin has already seen its decline, right? So who's to say that the decline to $20 that we saw all the way down, to the end of 2018 wasn't the pre-halving drop that we were expecting, right? Also, one thing to note is the volume on Litecoin, if you look down here, is nothing, back then is nothing like we saw in recent times, right? Litecoin was just another coin to another altcoin, or one of the first altcoins that rose out of the Bitcoin hysteria, right? But now you see Litecoin 2017, 2018, and even now 2019, we see some volume picking back up. The volume back then was nothing like it is now. So that is another thing to compare. But going back to the price action, who's to say that the price action that we see here, right, is not the downtrend that we expect before the halving? And if you look at Litecoin's chart, I actually think that this is a more plausible scenario. So if you look at Litecoin's chart, you'll see that Litecoin is actually rather bullish. Excuse all of the lines and stuff that I drew, but if you look at the 1-day chart, you'll see that Litecoin is forming. I'll just remove the SMAs real quick, as well as the EMA and the regression channel. So if you look at Litecoin's chart, you'll see that it's forming this wide rounding bottom going all the way back to May 2018. This is over a year-long trend here, right? So this trend is really strong. It is valid. And the rounding bottom here started at around $180. So, as I said earlier in the year, my target for Litecoin's 2019 price is around $180. And it is because of, this level that you see here. We'll probably see resistance at around, and we could surpass it, who knows? But I don't particularly see the drop in Litecoin happening before the halving, unless there is a short drop because people are talking about it as if it's supposed to happen, right? So there's this element of groupthink that could be in play here. But in general, this is a very bullish pattern, especially coming from a downtrend, a rounding bottom, and one that has extended for over a year. It is a very bullish sign, right? And if you take a look at the 4-hour, you'll see that we have this pennant here forming, and I think Litecoin is on the verge of deciding what it wants to do from this pennant. It is currently sitting on top of the 50 moving average, right? And once we reach the apex of this pennant, we could see a bullish breakout. You also see the hidden bullish divergence between the price, the RSI, and the MACD. So in my view, I think it is the more probable move, going back to the halving chart, right, where you see this incline, this rally here after a major decline. You see this rally here before the halving. I think that rally will be, obviously markets don't have to play out exactly like they did prior, but I think that rally will represent the break of this pennant here on the 4-hour that takes us to around $180, which will complete, the rounding bottom itself. So, and we might see some resistance there. This might turn into a cup and handle, who knows? But I do think that there is some more upside for Litecoin pre-halving. Obviously, this is a market and anything can happen. So I'm just talking about what is a plausible scenario. All right, moving on to the traditional markets, you'll see the Dow is down 0.36%, S&P virtually unchanged, and the Nasdaq is up 0.31%. Looking at a macro level, I mean, stocks are still doing insanely well. The markets are at all-time highs, and if you look at the S&P 500, you'll see it has broken all-time highs here, and we are currently forming this large inverse head and shoulders. I actually had an idea on TradingView regarding the S&P 500. You'll see here it is following almost close exactly what it did back in 2015, where we had the inverse head and shoulders, a retest of resistance, finally a break, back down to retest as support, and then another rally. And if we look at what is going on here, we broke the resistance in the same way that we did back in 2015, 2016. We have retraced a bit, and I believe that we will see a continuation, obviously barring some sort of financial disaster, especially if the Fed cuts rates. I do think we will see a major boom in stocks overall. A couple of stocks that we traded successfully, we're up 35% on Symantec. It's funny because I was waiting for Symantec to hit this yellow range before selling, just because it has seen resistance in this yellow range going all the way back to May 2018. But, you know, as soon as it approached this yellow range, there was news that Broadcom was going to acquire Symantec. And you see this insane gap here, this jump here, and it opened the next day. You know, I think it was 13 or 14% higher than this close here. But we're now up 35% on Symantec. I am going to be setting a stop limit here just to protect the profits that we have. It is definitely in major overbought territory. You know, it's seeing levels that it hasn't seen in a couple of years or so. So, you know, I'm definitely looking to take profits on Symantec. Again, if you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description. You get access to the stock trade alerts as well if you select the Diamond Trader tier or above. It'll cost you less than a cup of coffee a week and well worth it in my opinion. Like I said, the SPY is the ETF that follows the S&P 500. This is another one that we've been heavily involved in for most of 2018 and 2019. So keep your eyes peeled for alerts like these and others. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe already. Hit that notification bell. If you have a comment, leave it down below. Leave a thumbs up if you got anything out of this video. Stay safe out there, traders. Peace.